So what are we making today? I've got grits, I've got butter, I've got Cabot seriously sharp cheddar. That's all gonna go together in our grits. Then I've got some brisket. I'm gonna reduce some beef stock, throw some onions and some leeks in there. We're gonna reduce that, add some olive oil. We're gonna add some garlic and some all-purpose seasoning to that. Then we're gonna mix it all together, put this on top, pour some of that sauce on top, and then we're gonna top it with a fried egg. 2 cups of water, let it boil. A half a cup of grits. Now that we're boiling, we're gonna put this in. This is a 1-to-4 ratio. We're gonna mix it in, bring it to a boil, and then let it simmer. We're gonna cover it up just like you do with rice. Now when I say grits, I mean these grits. I'm not talking about the quick grits that come in a round tube. No, these things will take about 30 minutes to cook, but you will never have better grits, I guarantee it. So we're gonna chop these up. We've got our pan good and hot. We're gonna add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. We've got some beef stock, beef broth, whatever you wanna call it. We got probably about a cup of it. We're gonna boil that down. And we're gonna throw our vegetables in there and simmer it and make a reduction. Now that we've got our leeks and onions in here, we're gonna reduce this and get these vegetables super tender. Now we're gonna shred this. I've got my all-purpose seasoning that I made. Got salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. Now as we're getting this into a low rolling boil, I'm gonna add some lime juice, probably about a teaspoon, but this adds a little bit of acid to it, and that's gonna help out our flavor profile. Our grits are getting close to done. They've been on for about 20 minutes. I'm gonna add some of my butter and the cheese. That'll thicken it up, give it a nice velvety texture, as well as a creaminess to it. Call it a heart attack, but I like a lot of butter in my grits. I'm using Kerrygold Irish butter. It's all grass-fed beef and has a different taste than every other butter. As you can see, it's bright yellow, not like that almost white butter you get from the supermarket. I'm gonna add just a half a teaspoon of cornstarch, and that's gonna help thicken this up just a little bit, just to make sure it sits on top and doesn't get real watery. Now it's time to add some of our cheese. We're gonna mix this in. I love lots of cheese as well. This is a sharp white cheddar, so it's gonna give a very powerful flavor addition to this already rich combination. Now you can see this almost looks like a whipped mashed potatoes, but they're not. Add some salt to it. Grits love salt. It really hides the flavor, so you gotta add a lot. This is gonna be so good. When I cook, a lot of times I'll change what I do as I'm cooking. And what goes better than beef? Horseradish. We're gonna put some of this in this au jus, if you will. It may seem like a lot, but it's a creamy horseradish, and it's not very spicy, it's not very strong, but this is gonna add a lot of flavor. With those leeks and that onions, we're gonna throw in some garlic in just a little bit. Man, with the garlic in here now and this horseradish, you can just smell it. It starts to tingle your nose, but it's a creamy horseradish, so it's almost got a little bit of a sweetness to it. That mixed with the olive oil and the leeks, oh, it's so gonna be good. So you got our smoked brisket. We left some fat in there, and it's gonna add some moisture as it melts back into the meat. So now we're getting the consistency I wanna see. It's nice and thick. It's gonna be able to hold its shape well without getting too watery. I already tried the flavor, it's just delicious. I think we're about ready. These things are nice and hot. How easy it just breaks apart. That's gonna be some good eating. Look how hot that is. Perfect. All right. I'm just gonna pour this right over top. Now let's get that egg on. It's ready when it starts to ripple. Just like that. Can't have an egg without good seasoning. growing up in the North, grits is something we never had until I joined the Marines. I was like, what is this? It's kind of a universal thing. We grew up with cream of wheat, stuff like that, grape nuts. Better when warm, a little bit of milk. I always thought that grits was just a side, something you had, maybe a little bit of salt and pepper. Some people like sugar in it, definitely cheese, some salt, pepper for me. But what I've learned after living in Memphis for quite a few years in the Mid-South or general South together, grits is an actual meal. Shrimp and grits, beef and grits, pork and grits, whatever you want to mix with grits, you just get creative with it. It's a great platform. It's a mild flavor, so you can impart any flavor you want with it, and that's going to pair well with nearly any type of food you want. So, look at that. I'm going to try this. We're going to mix some brisket with this onions and leeks. See how it tastes. Hot. That is so good. Just that little bit of horseradish in there really makes a huge difference. It adds to the creaminess of the grits, which are certainly a heartier grit than what you guys are used to making. If you can find it, I recommend doing it. It's all over the stores in the Lexington area. They're hot. About to get me some egg in here. Now that's a meal.